on these calls, typically we've got agents and leaders. And so I want to make sure that I kind of talk through specifically like detail on how, if you're an agent, what are some very specific things that you can do right about this time of year to make sure that you're a sales warrior in 2025, that you thrive in 2025? But also for the leaders, like I want to make sure that I'm arming you with some of the talking points, some of the things that are working out there across all markets. So that as you're teaching and you're training and you're coaching and you're recruiting, you can be having some really great, powerful conversations with those folks. If you've got any questions as we go along this, please like don't hesitate. Small group, let's make sure that we get connected. Okay, like stop me, pause me, unmute yourself, ask away. It's no big deal, right? Full transparency. I am on like 2 parts coffee, 3 parts Metallica, 1 part Kill Rob Bailey. I got an absolute beast mode workout this morning, which puts me in an interesting mindset. I was having a conversation with some people the other day. It was a mix of salespeople, leaders, entrepreneurs, real estate, outside of real estate, and we had this moment where I asked, I said, has anybody felt like they were just different? Like you saw the world differently, and it wasn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, right? Everybody kind of approaches those things differently, but you because of the way the world works, that we seem to try over and over and over to fit in. But you don't necessarily fit in. You kind of fit out. And it was interesting to me how many people like raise their hand. I think that entrepreneurs and salespeople specifically are a really, really unique and rare bird. And what I mean by that is there are introverted salespeople, there are extroverted salespeople, and yet we understand that if you don't make your phone calls, if you don't do the prospecting, if you are timid, you have skinny kids, as the book would say, right? And yet what I find is that to do what it is that we do, to eat what we kill, to go out and hunt every day, to not be promised anything, to believe that we can do something special for people that oftentimes are the largest purchase or sale that they'll ever have. You have to feel a little different. And what I started to think about was, what would it look like if we said, hey, my name's Todd and I'm different. I'm unique. I'm special. See, we talk about extraordinary. We talk about wanting to be a 1%er. We talk about wanting to be exceptional. And yet then we spend all of our time trying to fit in. Well, in order to be extraordinary, it's extraordinary. It means you can't be ordinary. You have to be different. Well, ordinary is everybody else. So rather than fitting in, maybe fitting out was actually the right way to go. In order to be exceptional, you have to be the exception, right? Like wordsmith here. Like, let's go through, like, what's the makeup? Well, you have to be different from everybody else. We've all seen the poster that says, 1%, in order to be a 1%er, you got to do what the 99% won't do. Well, it's all the same stuff. I live a life where I get to have an impact on people's businesses and lives. And we talk about things that most businesses don't talk about. I've spent my entire career working for other people. I've had little snippets in there in between where I was, I had my entrepreneurial deal. I was in sales my whole time. Now, every single one of my bosses were, for the most part, pretty good guys and gals, but they really only cared about my numbers. Now, they made it look like they cared about my business for me, but they didn't really care about my business for me. They cared about my business for them. And we do something different here in this environment, in this ecosystem. We talk about our 4 foundations because we think that this is a life that we're living, and the business funds the life and the impact that we're having, which is different. As I look through what's happening in all of the markets nationwide, and I start to look at the people that we're working with, agents and leaders nationwide, and I say, which ones are defying the market? They're the honey badgers. I'm sorry to say it, but they're the ones that have just said, you know what? F it. I am just going to be me, all me. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to say, this is what I stand for. Here are my core beliefs. Here's who I am. And yeah, I'm different. And guess what happens? Those people that are looking for that kind of a leader, that kind of a company, that kind of a salesperson, they find them. Otherwise, everybody else is, well, they're playing secret agent, secret leader, secret company, secret values, secret. They're trying to fit in with everybody else. And so my challenge to you today, and by the way, this is me really calm compared to the coffee level that I've got. Okay. But my challenge to you today is I want you to dream. Okay. I want you to, this is the time of year. We're about to go into Thanksgiving break. And I'm one of those guys that says, hey, look, December 1st, gas is on the right, no brakes. You've got a business plan, you've got an execution strategy, you've got your goals. Let's go. By the time January 1st gets here and everybody's waking up and they're like, oh my gosh, where's the aspirin? Like, let's go. We got to get after it. Like, we're going. This week is the week where we get to sit in silence, maybe not so silence, maybe football, maybe family, maybe chaos. But you know what I'm talking about. It's the opportunity to put the phone down, to get away from the computer, to stop taking phone calls from clients and agents and whatever, and just sit in our thoughts and our dreams. This is the moment to look back, and success leaves clues, failure leaves clues, and to pay attention. I'm just coming off of hosting a couple of dream days. And so I want to give you a framework for this. This works for everybody, by the way. Everybody. And in this world that we live in, where technology is moving at a crazy pace, by the way, technology is not replacing agents, but it will replace. We think about like the aviation world, they say if it's in, on, or around, it's of high value. Okay. If it's in an airplane, on a plane, airplane, or around an airplane, the value is higher. When we talk about the real estate industry, in technology, what we're talking about is technology solving many of the pain points associated with having to get some of these things done. It's not replacing agents. It's replacing people that might be around the agent, the consumer, the transaction. That's just to solve some confusion that might be out there, right? Some fear mongering that might be out there. This is a belly to belly business. The only time it will fail or cease to be a belly to belly business is if the real estate agent decides that they're going to do what all of the mom and pop shops did when Amazon came out and said, oh, they're not making money. They'll never make it. That's not going to work. People want to just do business locally. There's an element that's trying to do that. We have to leverage technology. And so what we've got to do during these times is allow ourselves to dream. Well, what do those things look like? Well, listen, I don't know about you, but nobody ever said, you know what I really like? I love that old stale, that thing that smells and doesn't really work, and I don't see a whole lot of value in it. People buy and are attracted to people that have got the magic. They've got the energy. They've got the excitement. And we all have to have that. And gosh darn it, like over the last couple of years, and if I'm really being honest, it's probably the last 4 years. Like we survived the COVID years because things were so busy, but we were even complaining about those when the business was crazy good. And yet, how many agents, how many leaders, how many entrepreneurs were going, holy smokes, love the checks, am not loving the speed, am not loving the lack of connection. There was a dullness around it. And then we got out of that, and then boom, we come back to what we thought was normal, and then it got worse. And now we complain about this. Look, it's about dreaming and figuring out why are some people making it and why are some people not. They're focused on the right things or the wrong things. That's it. What you listen to this. I love this saying. Okay. What you don't change, you choose. What you don't change, you chose. You don't like the relationship that you have with family members and you're not doing something about it, well, then you chose that relationship with family members. I say that because we're all about to be around family, and some of them we're not going to want to be around, right? You don't like the extra 5, 10, 25 pounds that you're carrying around your belly, and if you're not doing anything about it, look, it's a day. My 11-year-old came in this morning and he said, "Daddy, I'm so excited. Thanksgiving." The kid is weird. He loves turkey. Like that's if he was going to have a sandwich, it would be a turkey nay nay. So he in his mind, like this is the mother load. It's turkey and mashed potatoes. Like it's the greatest thing ever. It's one day. If we don't like the business that we have, if we don't like the income we're generating, if we don't like the people that we're working with, and we don't do something about it, then we've chosen it. And this is the time we get to dream about what it would look like. And so here's the framework that I want to give you. Okay. And we call it Dream Day. You can do this solo. You can do this in your family. You can do this with your fitness. You can do this with your business. If you're an agent and you're just by yourself, you can do it with your manager. Hey, by the way, you can do it just totally by yourself. If you're on a team, this is a very powerful exercise. If you're running an organization, if you're an entrepreneur, I don't even care what space you're in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be real estate. This is an incredibly powerful way of creating the vision for 2025 that everybody can get behind. So step one of your dream day, first of all, let me get in a room. You know, the big, the big pads, the sticky pads, they're huge. What are they? What is that? 3-4 feet by 2 or 3 feet wide, right? Markers. Yeah. Jimmy's got some behind him. All right. The big pads, like that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Get those pads and get some markers, get different colors, and go crazy with them. Eliminate all of the distraction if you're one of those people that's easily distracted. I have 3 kids. Nothing can distract me. And then start writing. And each page is going to have a different thing on it. And here's the question. What's one area that's working? One thing that's working, right? And by the way, it doesn't need to be one thing, right? But one thing for each piece of paper. One thing that's working. And then you're going to dream about what it would look like if you could make it even better. And you're going to write it all down, right? So your title is going to be what it is. And then below it, it's just bullet points. Boom, boom, boom. Just think big, right? What do they say? Don't be childish, be childlike. Remember when you were a kid and you thought you could be an astronaut, that you thought you could be an NFL player or what, fill in the blank? Like, be a dreamer because you're freaking different. You see the world differently. You wouldn't be in this position. You wouldn't be in this business if you were like everybody else. You'd have a 9 to 5. You'd be punching a clock. Okay. You'd be working for the government. You'd be digging a ditch. Twice. The next one is what's one area that's not working, right? Again, so you do the same exercise. What's not working? What's broken? What's a struggle? What's the pain in my booty every single day, every single quarter? Like we just can't get it. We just can't get it. And then under that, you're going to do bullet points. Now listen, I'm going to say something that I'm going to say a bad word, even though I promised that I'm not going to say bad words. That's my thing, right? But I'm qualifying it. Okay. So here it is. How do you fix it or fuck it? And what I mean is we're either going to fix it or get rid of it. Okay.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I'm going to get you right back to the video, but most of you know me as a real estate broker, or maybe somebody who's built and scaled one of the fastest growing sales organizations in the country. What you may not know is that I also work with other sales professionals and leaders that are looking to grow and scale their businesses and just live badass lives. The one place that I have everybody start, the very first spot, is the lethal scripts for the sales warrior. I'm going to give you one for free today just so that you can get a little taste of what it is that we're doing out there. So click on the link below. We'll send you the information and let's get back to the video.
If it's broken, maybe it's broken. Maybe it's not working because it wasn't the right thing to do in the first place. I am a dreamer. I love innovating. I like trying new things. If you're like me, you will fail more than everybody else. But guess what? When you fail more than everybody else, you will also win more than everybody else. Most people avoid the pain of failure because, well, failure sucks. It doesn't feel good, right? And no matter what happens, like I get it all the time, right? I'm in a hyper growth business. I'm in a hyper growth company. We've been one of the fastest growing real estate companies over and over and over. So many times I've lost track. Like we started in, there's two of us in the basement of our house. We're one of the top 10 Coldwell Banker companies in the country. Like we do things differently. Okay. But if I were to stack my loss column up against anybody else who just grows at 3 or 4% a year, mine's going to look horrendous. Like I'm going to look like the idiot in the room. But if I compare my W column, well, guess what? I'm going to smoke everybody. What you have to be willing to do is you can't be ego tied to the things that aren't working. So those things that aren't working, when you sit there and you dream and you really take ego out of the equation and you go, what is it? Like, is there something that could be done? Crazy ideas that could make this work and really be amazing? If the answer is no, then get rid of it. Otherwise, you're going to come up with all these killer ideas. Okay. Now, once you've finished those two steps, what's working, what's not working, and how would I make it better? How would I fix it? The ones that you're not going to fix, you're going to throw away. So I'm going to go back to those sheets and I'm going to answer this question. What's the impact of executing on these? See, if I solve it, if I fix it, what's the impact? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Maybe it's just me, but I have chased a penny and stepped over $1 a time or two in my life. And this is a really, really important step because while you may have fixed it and while it may make you feel very invigorated and excited, it may not be worth it. And for our agents, there are lots of these in your world. These are the distractions that I talk about. If you're not tracking them, there's no way to tell whether or not the return on investment is appropriate. And regardless of how it makes you feel, I need you to know what the real facts are. Okay. So you've got to be able to determine, hey, is the juice worth the squeeze? If it is, awesome. If it's not, get rid of it. So now you've narrowed the field a bit, and you're going to answer the last question. And that is, and on this is all on this one big piece of paper. When will it be done? And who owns it? Okay. Deadlines are everything. Because if you don't have one, it doesn't get done. It does by accident, usually, right? Or you only get done the ones that you really get excited about, passionate about. And let's be honest, not everything in our business is exciting to everybody. Okay. I hate the accounting. Some people love it. Right. So you've got to figure out what that is, but put a deadline on it. And then who owns it is not the person that has to do all of the work. I want to make sure that that's clear. The owner of a project is just somebody who says, look, I'm going to make sure that this thing gets across the finish line. If it doesn't get across the finish line, it's my fault. I'm going to be the delegator. I'm going to be the accountability partner. I'm going to manage the process. I'm going to help create this. I'm going to do the work if I have to do the work, fine, whatever, right? But one person owns it, and it's only one person. And it may, if you're an agent, if you're a solopreneur, listen to me. You may think it's all you, but it's not all you. So I'm going to give you an example. One of the things we talked about in Thrive for 25 was the customer communication cadence. And we talked specifically about, hey, look, the biggest challenge that, and we've got the survey, I don't know, I've been in the business for 22 years. I've never not heard it be in the top 3 as a complaint from the consumer about real estate professionals, and that is their communication. Never not heard that was one of the top 3 complaints. So obviously, we keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, which is insanity. So perhaps we should change things. So I talk about the customer communication cadence. And part of it is all things that are, hey, how many views, how many clicks, how many leads, how many showings, how many people came through the open house, what was the feedback, how many new properties came on the market, how many pendings are there, how many price changes, how many close, like all of the data that you would expect as a seller that you would want to know. We also talked, however, about who's on your team, right? So you may have an assistant. Like I hope you that are scaling your business understand that's your first hire. You hire that executive assistant, right? He or she needs to be told, like, hey, this is they would own that. Like, what's the process for creating a customer communication cadence? When is it going to be? What's in it? What's the words that you're going to use? All of it. How are you going to track when it was sent? How are you going to track who it gets sent to? They get to own it, and then they bring it back to you. Make sense? Okay. Same thing with your mortgage person. If you've got a mortgage partner, which please God, I hope you do, you have a team. We talked very specifically about Amazon. And the reasons that Amazon won wasn't because of the price. Amazon won because they put the customer at the center of the transaction. What that meant was they removed the salesperson. We're in a market, we're in a cycle of the market, and we've been there for about 10 or 12 years, in my opinion, that the agent has put themselves as the center of the transaction. And whether you're an agent or a leader, hear me really loud and clear. That's a mistake. Okay. That's a mistake. All that's done is said, hey, agent, we'll give you a better comp plan. We'll do this, we'll do that. But look, in the absence of value, the only thing you have to negotiate is price. And so there are like, if that's the game you're going to get into, then Zillow's going to smoke you. They may not smoke you today, they may not smoke you tomorrow, but the Zillows of the world, and it's probably going to be somebody other than Zillow, by the way, is going to come in and figure out how to out Amazon your booty, and you're going to have a problem. Okay. We've seen it. Like I know in our market, we've gone from, well, I'm not going to give you actual numbers, but what I will tell you is over the last 7 years, our retained company dollar, that's the split between company and agent, the company side has gone down 30%. Okay. And yet the expenses have gone up. So you can do the math, right? If the agent is at the center of it, where do the customer come involved with that? Shouldn't we be talking about how much more we're getting the customer in discounts if they're a buyer, or how much more we're getting them in price premiums if they're sellers? Okay, I don't know. That was a tangent. Sorry. So Dream Day. What's one area that's working? What's not working? How will you fix it, or will you get rid of it? Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And then who will own it and buy when? Right. But this is the time that we get to do that. I'm going to dig in specifically to 5 lead sources, strategies, tactics that top agents are utilizing right now to get different outcomes. And every single one of these is coming from an agent who's outperforming the market. Okay. So I tell you all the time, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you what we've done or what other people are doing that are winning in the marketplace. And y'all, the loudest voices right now, y'all, we just got done with the what is it? The Mexico Mastermind, and I was in a room with the best of the best. Okay, like the top of the top agents. Two things. Number one, wow, how humble they were. Some of them I had to literally threaten to beat them for them to even share some of their best practices, right? Because they're humble. They're different. They feel different. They're not the loudest ones in the room. You follow what I'm saying? But they share the most. So they're not the loudest ones in the room, but they had the most to share. And when I mean share, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got people that you probably work with where they're doing something, but they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody. Oh, I don't want to tell anybody. That's mine. No, 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 no. That's not what the best are doing. The best are like, absolutely, I would love to help you. And so I'm going to dig into 5 of them, and I'm going to dig as deep as I possibly can. Please stop me, interrupt me, ask questions. That's what this is all about. But again, if you're an agent, you're going to want to adopt some of these, if not all of these. And this might be part of your dream when you start talking about how am I going to shut the door in 24 and thrive in 25? How am I going to change it? We all know, like, you can't keep doing the same stuff and expecting a different result. So that's this may be one or more of those things, right? So number 1 on my list was go to the office. Listen, I am not going to pretend to know exactly why this works and why it doesn't work, but here's what I would tell you. We've crunched the numbers. If you go to the office 3 or more times a week, you make 206.6% more money. I don't know. Is it that they get more walk-ins? Do they get more sign calls? That they get more people that are walking out in front of the office looking at photos in the window? Maybe. I can tell you that we have empirical case study, one after another of people that made 5 million, 7 million, one that made 15 million more dollars just by being in the office, just by daring to go outside and shaking the hand of a customer that just happened to be looking at a window display. That's real money. Is it that they showed up to sales meetings? That they shared maybe coming soons and got deals under contract faster? Was it that they shared maybe some buyer needs that they couldn't fill? And somebody in the office said, oh, hey, I know somebody. And they were able to fill those needs faster? Was it that they needed to get dressed to impress and come into the office? And we all know when you get ready and you got your hair done and you're shaved and you're wearing your power suit or whatever that is for you, you just feel different. You just show up different. Is it that you really are feeling the power of proximity? Or maybe it's positive peer pressure as you're in a room with other people who are showing up, putting up. I don't know. Maybe it's all of them. But what I do know is that 206.6% more income is being generated by those people that show up at the office.
It's the collaboration, Todd.
Sure. Collaboration. You can't help but learn when you're around people who are doing great things. And if people that are doing great things are going to the office and you choose to go to the office too, well, I mean, sorry, you're going to do better. I mean, and if that's something that you're looking for, well, that seems like a really simple one, right? Doesn't take any thought process, doesn't take really much effort whatsoever. Just go in and like drink some of the company's coffee, and something magical happens. Number two is how we connect with our sphere of influence. Numbers are all over the place. Okay. What I would tell you is that the sweet spot seems to be somewhere between 65 and 75% of your business in a healthy structure of your business is coming from your sphere of influence. That's a healthy structure. Now, some people it'll be less. Okay. Typically, like when you think of a brand new agent, they're out doing a ton of open houses. They're buying leads off of online services. They're doing some other things, and maybe it's a little bit lower. Okay. And they're going to have to work that up. But some of them may be 95% sphere of influence. Well, those typically are people who don't have enough of the other lead sources. And so as a result, they're in, I would call them a precarious position. Okay. Anytime you are reliant too much on one lead source, those lead sources, the viability of that lead source changes pretty often. And so what we're trying to do is show you these are people who win year after year after year. These are the top of the top that win year after year after year. They don't do this. So if you want a business that goes like that, keep doing probably what you're doing, right? If on the other hand, you want a business that just keeps growing and growing and growing, and especially when the market is suffering, you're taking market share. Because y'all, the people that are doing the work right now, when it's really hard, when it's cold and wet and you're in the mud, when everybody around you is distracted and complaining, y'all, I have never seen more nonsensical water cooler talk than today. Like, I literally want to go into my offices, anybody that I work with, and I want to give them all earplugs. And I want to like put it on airplane mode, like noise cancel on, and just focus on doing the work. Don't let all of these people that are around you that are complaining about this or that or lawsuits or interest rates or inventory and my broker is so bad and my this, don't do that. Your broker, I don't care what company you're with, your broker has a desire to help you. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they didn't want to help you, if they didn't love you. They'd be out selling real estate because chances are they can do it better than you can. Your sphere of influence is a group of people who know, like, and trust you. And there's not a ton of them. You don't have 1,000 of them. You probably have max about 250 of them. And so you're going to have to figure out a way to stay top of mind, but not just that they like you, that they trust you. It's different, y'all. If you're in a popularity contest, the minute that person in your sphere of influence picks up pickleball as a new sport and their new pickleball partner is a real estate agent, you're out. Okay? They're not going to betray their pickleball partner. However, if you're trusted, they will not betray you because that would be betraying themselves. So how do we do that so it's not douchey and all of the things, okay? And I know there's plenty of people that are like, well, you're going to make a phone call. Do you know anybody? How are you? What's going on? Do you know anybody who wants to buy, sell? Da, 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 da. Are you an investor? That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, like this is just, we are different. We're different. But I do think that you have to have a strategy. I do like the personal note strategy. If you were to write 10 personal notes every single week, like what would the impact of that be? You're going to work 250 days a year. If you wrote a personal note every single or two every single day, that would be 500 personal notes. When's the last time you got a personal note and didn't open it or didn't think to yourself, wow, man, that is an art that has gone. Like everybody texts and emails. It's pretty powerful stuff. If If you decided that, you know what I'm going to do is each day, I'm just going to do one real estate review. Doesn't have to be overdone. Use RPR, use your own system, use your MLS. It doesn't matter. What is the value of that home right now? And what if you just did that and you just emailed it to them and then took your phone and just said, Tyler, it's Todd. I hope you're doing great, man. Hey, look, for all my VIP clients, every year I just do a real estate review. It helps them with their insurance, making sure that they're insured properly. It helps some people with tax planning, estate planning. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew. I just sent that to you via email. Brother, if you've got any questions whatsoever, just please reach out. Say hey to the wife and the kids, and happy Thanksgiving, man. Boop. Yo, we can all do that. That's not douchey. I didn't ask for anything. But you know what I did do is I gave Tyler something of value, something that he's like, oh, whoa, you know what? When it comes to valuations, Todd's my guy, right? Not my pickleball partner. Home anniversaries, kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, it's in your CRM, hopefully. You sold it to him. Hopefully it's in your CRM. How easy is that? And then I just get to call and be like, hey, Melissa, it's Todd. Can you believe that you bought that thing 5 years ago? Is that crazy? How much life has changed in 5 years? By the way, did pretty well, right? I don't know. That thing probably went up double. Did you know that? I know. Crazy. Anyway, just wanted to call and wish you a happy home anniversary. We all know what happens when we have these conversations. People are always asking questions. They're going to text you back. Thank you so much. What about this? Oh, I didn't know about that. They're all going to ask all those questions. And then the last one on your sphere of influence is I'm a big believer that we need to be talking to them once a month. Everybody goes, what? Once a month? I thought it was like every 90 days. No. Every 6 months. No, it's once a month. And I think where people go sideways on that is they forget. They think that they've got 1,000 people to call. They don't. Most you have is 250. Okay. Really, it's probably 150, but whatever. If you just called 10 people a day, if you just sent 10 people a day a video text, you'd be golden, right? And the real problem is, what do I say? And so in the Sales Warrior Academy, there is a 12-month call sheet, okay? It gives you each month an idea of what we would teach a Sales Warrior agent to call and say. So an example would be in January, very similar to the script that I just gave you in calling Tyler about the home valuation. Would be somebody that just calls and say, hey, look, for my VIP clients, this is a pretty important time of year. Every year, your estate documents need to be updated. Your insurance valuations need to be updated. I don't know if you knew this or not, but if something really bad happened to your house, your homeowner's insurance will only cover your most recent valuation of the property. And has your property gone up or down? Well, it's gone up. So if you haven't updated it recently, then if something catastrophic happened, house burnt down, you'd only be covered at what the other one was. So that's why I do this on an annual basis. And I'm just calling to see if you would like me to do that for you, right? Really simple, very simple call, right? There's some fun ones in there for Valentine's Day. Notoriously, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but guys forget things. And so notoriously, like it's last minute trying to get a reservation at one of the top restaurants. And so we teach the sales warriors to go, hey, why don't you get your 5 top restaurants and go and get 3 reservations at your 5 best restaurants and then start calling your database. Call the dudes first, okay? Hey, listen, Valentine's coming up. I have some primo reservations. Have you already gotten a reservation for your honey? Okay. Yes, awesome, wonderful. But I got street cred, didn't I? And then you're going to have some people that are going to be like, no, I didn't. And yes, I would love that. Okay. But these are really cool ways for us to be contributing to them. But that sheet gives you really very specific things to talk to them throughout the course of the year. Okay. So check that out. So that would be how to really work with your sphere of influence in a way that is not douchey. Okay. But it's what the top people are doing. Number 3 on my list is the wedding anniversary calls. I thought this one was awesome. This one actually came from a mortgage guy. And he said, so what you do is, obviously you got to have your CRM is only as good as the information that you have in it. So you got to have the information. And so what he said was, hey, call 3 days before the wedding anniversary. So this is going to take a process. You're going to have to get the information in advance. You're going to have to be able to track this stuff. But if you put this in place, you call the guy 3 days ahead of time and you go, hey, Jimmy, I just wanted to say, man, I know that you and Katie's anniversary is in 3 days. I just wanted to call you a little bit early and just wish you guys a happy anniversary. Do you think that Jimmy forgot his anniversary? It's possible. It's possible. Listen, if 1 out of 10, which all the guys on the call know, it's more than 1 out of 10. But if 1 out of 10, we're like, oh shit, man, like I spaced that. Guess what you just did? You just saved a brother. Okay. So help him out. Hey dude, like I got a great florist. Can I hook you up? Yeah. Awesome. Great. I'll get that done right now. What do you want the card to say? Go do it. Bro, if you have to spend 50, 75, $100 for a client that's going to not only, how many people do you think that client's going to refer to you? Bro, you're never going to believe what Peter did. That dude saved my butt. And then he did this and I'm going to, yeah. So like, forget about it. And then on the day of, you call the woman. Okay. And you wish her, Katie, just wanted to say, happy anniversary. I know that today you guys have been married for blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyway, I thought that's a super easy one, but I thought that one was really cool. I'm going to give you, let's see, where are we on time? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Expired listings. All the agents went, oh. The next one, you're really going to go, oh. But anyway, number 4 is expired listings. What I love about expired listings is that these are people that have already raised their hand and said, I would like to sell my home. And chances are they're pretty disappointed that they didn't sell their home. And they're probably wondering, gosh, man, did I choose the wrong agent? Am I timing? Is my house not good? Am I in the wrong location? What did I do wrong? They are confused. And of course, their agent doesn't know. Otherwise, they would have fixed it, right? As an agent, we need to reframe our phone calls to expireds, our reach outs to expireds, to remember that these people need the right agent to help them. They need the right agent to provide the right experience for them. They did not get what they bargained for. They need you. Like if you are a pro, look, if you're an amateur, do not do this because we don't need any more amateurs falling on their face. But if you're a pro, they need you. This is it right here. Okay. So then the question is always, well, how do I do it? And some people will teach you that the best way to do it is to go knock on the door and make the phone call. And if that works for you, awesome. I'm going to give you a different look at it. I was not afraid to make phone calls. I was not a huge fan of knocking on doors. To me, that was a little bit like stalker. Okay. But that's just me. If you're really good at the, like the door-to-door stuff, go do it. Another strategy to this is to just write them a personal note. And this is an agent out of a resort market, which I love because in the high-end resort markets, what we hear most of is, oh, that doesn't work here. That strategy doesn't work here, okay? I think of the Sun Valleys and the Tellurides and the Vales and the Steamboats. Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't work here. Oh, I don't even have the address. I don't even know how to get a hold of them. This came from one of the highest end of high-end markets where this agent does a note card, right? So this is a personal note Very specific. On the back of the envelope, all she puts is the return address. Okay. It's handwritten.
All right, one more interruption. Hey, listen, you guys know I'm working with salespeople and leaders all over the country, all over the world for that matter, and we're all focused on one thing. How is it that we have the greatest impact and change the most lives? So here's the thing. You don't have to pay me to be your coach. I'm going to give you my phone number. I want you to text me any question you've got. I promise you I'll answer it. Just try me. 833-338-0078. Ask me whatever you want. I'm in this for you, not just with you, for you. Let's get out there and crush it and change some lives.
It's on 52-pound linen paper and envelope. Very specific. She uses the small point Sharpie. Very specific. And the wording on the note card is, hey, if you're going to list your property again with your current agent, please disregard this. On the other hand, if you're open-minded to what I would do to market and sell your home, please call or text me. That's it. Put your business card in there, hugs and kisses, happy Thanksgiving, whatever. Okay? Brilliant, easy, professional, kind, compassionate. All of the things that make us special. We are seeing more and more expired listings than we have in quite some time. And while everybody's sitting around the water cooler complaining about fill in the blank, you, with your headphones on, can just be doing the work. My last one is open houses. Open houses, open houses, open houses. I'm in a market. We moved here 3 years ago. At the time, Scottsdale was one of the hottest markets in the country. I laughed when I was driving down the road because I didn't see any open houses. And sales warriors know open houses aren't to sell the home. Open houses are to get more listings, to generate more leads. And so every time a house was on the market and they didn't do an open house, I chuckled to myself because I was like, look, that person will be the first one out of the business. And my wife would go, what are you talking about? And I'm like, they're not doing anything to fill their pipeline. They're not doing anything to take market share. All they're doing is riding the wave. All these other people that do, they follow their process, their proven process, and part of their proven process is doing an open house, a listing launch strategy. Well, they're taking market share like crazy. Did you ever wonder why these kids got into the market in less than 18 months? All of a sudden they were crushing it. Well, they were following proven processes that some old dog, I'm one of them, said, hey, just do these things. And they went, all right. And they just did them. And lo and behold, it worked, right? This is open houses. Like open houses is a foundational component to anything we do. As real estate professionals, we are always trying to find a way to have a conversation with a potential client, a warm way, like not that I had to knock on doors and do all of this nonsense, like one that's like, I can just offer some kind of value. That's open houses. And you want to talk about like demonstrating your value, demonstrating your worth, a calling card, if you will, a branding piece, a TV, radio, all these things in between as to who you are as a professional. Like that's open houses. It is the biggest no-brainer of all time. And I can do it for $0. Really? It seems like everybody would do them, but they don't. We started this whole conversation off. Are we going to be exceptional? That means we have to be the exception. Are we going to be extraordinary? That means we can't be ordinary. Are we going to be the 1%? It means we have to do all of the things that the 99% aren't going to do. Yo, we hear the numbers. 87% of real estate licensees fail within 3 years. But what we don't talk about is that the remaining 13% on average make $50,000. You did not get in this business to make $50,000. And if you're only making $50,000, it means you're not doing a very good job for the one person, the people, the group of people that should be at the center of the conversation, which is the consumer. Because it's like a surgeon. To do $50,000 in income, you're not doing enough surgeries to be proficient at it. And as a result, you're doing likely, sorry, not sorry, more harm than you are good. So you can do one of two things. You can either wind yourself out of the business or you can change it. But either way, you chose it. Okay. So let's dig into what an open house is. Let me pull my notes up here for open houses. Okay. So a couple of realities about open houses that I find as a real estate professional, we get a little confused about. Number one, most people, when I ask them, why do you do an open house? They say, well, I'm going to sell the house. Okay. No. Like, look, if you look at the data, and for any of us that have sold homes, you can probably count on one hand how many homes you actually sold to somebody that came into the open house, right? So it's not a strategy that typically brings the buyer, but it brings buyers. It's also not a strategy, like if you don't do it properly, you will miss out on all of the other properties in the neighborhood that are likely to sell. And we all know that stat. In any given neighborhood, if you have 100 or more homes, 3 other properties are considering selling at the time that you bring that property on. The problem is that we don't know of the 100 which 3 they are. So how do we do that, right? Jeff says, yes, in 12 years sold 2. Perfect, right? Perfect example. Okay. So what we're really doing is we want to take an open house and we want to say, hey, look, this is an opportunity for me to show all of the other property owners in the marketplace that I'm the right agent to list and sell their property when and if they decide that they want to sell their property. Make sense? Okay. So we've got to change the way we market that property then to meet the upside of doing that open house. So how are we going to do it? Well, number one, all of the portals, I don't care what CRM system we're talking about, but certainly the one that we use, which is our CBIQ, has an ability to create opportunities. So you go in to your listing, you create the opportunity for an open house. Again, you can do this on all kinds of other sites, but you want to get it out into the world because, believe it or not, other agents and consumers, I know this is going to shock you, are starting their search online. And they're going to ask Google, are there any open houses in my neighborhood? And if they don't find yours, then the only way they'll find yours is by accident. Let's not do that. So let's create the open house in the CRM. In ours, we create the opportunity, we create the open house, and it syndicates out to all of the other places. I don't know, Moxie does the same thing, and Follow Up Bot, like they all do the same kinds of things, okay? The other thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is we're leveraging buyer profiles and targeting our social media ads to the buyer profile. So we all have access to these buyer profiles that say, hey, look, here's a heat map, here's the zip codes, here's the demographic or geographic criteria for a likely buyer for this property in this location at this price point in this configuration. Well, knowledge is power, right? If I had the ability to take $50 and throw it at an ad that just showed this property to the most likely buyers, would that be a good thing? Wouldn't that be a great thing as I'm now able to demonstrate that my $50 ad got 5,000 views and generated 50 leads or inquiries? Like, wouldn't that be important not only for the seller? I certainly am. I've just gotten 50 people to raise their hand as potential buyers of this property or maybe another property that I could serve them. But watch this. When I'm talking to other potential sellers in the marketplace to be able to tell that story, would that be powerful? Would that be a differentiator from everybody else that's just going to come in and say, well, I'm going to put it on the market and here's the price point, and then I'm going to do an open house, and yeah. We got to tell better stories, right? Because that was the other thing that Amazon did, right? They put the customer at the center, and then they said, hey, look, we're going to be data driven in our decisions. We're going to be data driven. So we have to tell our stories based on a data driven empirical way. Okay. And then, of course, I don't know if anybody heard, but video. And so we've got to do that. As we do the video, we're demonstrating a couple of things, and we post that video obviously on our social media. We send it out to our email marketing group. What we're doing for that is we're demonstrating for our entire friend group, our database, all of our friends, all of our followers, that we're a pro. And it's not, as my 18-year-old says, it's not that deep, right? It's a key feature. Hey, here's a 4-bedroom. It's on 0.2 of an acre. The view, like the view. It's amazing. Or the kitchen. Oh my gosh, you got to see this pool. You know, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we're not looking for, like television quality stuff. It's just you shooting a video saying, hey, I'm going to be doing this open house. Would love for you to come by. Killer view. Like, if you're a view person, this is probably the house you're looking for, right? And if not, just stop by and say hi, because I miss you, right? And just be yourself. I know there's at least one face on my tiles here that does the exact opposite of what I teach, right? Which is, don't have people sign in on paper, okay? Have them sign in on technology. And the reason you do that are 2 reasons. Number one, paper, like, that's way old school, and not old school in a good way. 2, if I have them sign in digitally, for whatever reason, people are more apt to give me the real email address and phone number. I don't get, Mickey Mouse at mickeymouse.com as much. Or the scribble, right? I love the scribble. I have no idea what they wrote, whatever. But it also demonstrates that I'm not old school. And then lastly, if signing in digitally, the products that are out there today will automatically email or text them the sheet on the property. Okay, so they have it right there. And then, of course, I've captured their information, and we can communicate. It'll dump automatically into my database, and I can have it auto subscribe, et cetera. There are reasons. I get it. I especially like the feedback sheet. So that would be the caveat to that. Maybe you have hey, the seller would love some feedback. The challenge that most people have is they're like, well, I have them sign in at the end so that I can get the feedback. Well, that didn't really work. You got to have them sign in at the front. So maybe you give them a little sheet to provide seller feedback. Okay. All right. So I've given you some sort of rules of the game here, and I'm going to walk you through the details. First things first, you got to pick a partner. And you're like, well, what do you mean? Well, listen, we talked about in, on, and around. In, on, and around. There are a bunch of people that make money as a result of what you do. You literally are the tip of the spear, if you will, of the transaction. Okay. The buyer or seller reaches out to an agent, and then and only then do they begin talking about mortgage and title and inspection and movers and cleaning people and like fill it. Those are all the ones that are around, right? So pick a partner that is invested in you having the success and delivering clients to them. Pick them. They'll come and help you. In fact, they should help you. They're part of your team. They'll also, help with swag or like themes. I'm not going to get into the whole event style open house today. I'm just going to do the basics. But as you get bigger and as you get better at these, significantly more help is going to be needed, right? You got to get it on the calendar because there's a countdown for this. Now, I'm going to give you a 10-day strategy. You might be able to crunch this down to 7, which I probably would, and I would probably plan on doing 1 every single week. What I know is if you will execute on this strategy, on average, people have 27 people come through the open house. And it was funny. My wife was on Facebook or whatever the other day, and she said, this person just posted, this is a real estate agent. God, sometimes we are so silly. This real estate agent had posted about how dumb open houses were, that she had done an open house and she didn't get one person. What an absolute waste of time. And here is this person literally from the rooftops telling a story about how she was no good. So here's your countdown. 10 days out, you start hitting social media. Facebook event created and boosted, okay? Create an ad on Instagram. It's all the same today, right? So it's all meta. You can create it once, you can post it on all. If you're in a marketplace, for example, that is I don't know, maybe it's a neighborhood that has a lot of doctors in it, right? And doctors have a tendency to come and go from hospitals, and they're more LinkedIn people than they are Instagram people, right? So you might choose to do an event or a posting or an ad on Instagram or LinkedIn, right? And then I would send out an invitation to my neighbors. Hey, private VIP 1 hour before the open house. I'm doing the open house from 1 to 5, from 12 to 1. Please come by and take a look. Private invite. Okay. 9 days out, post a video of the property on your social media. Okay. Send out an e-marketing invite. Y'all, we talk about don't build your business on rented ground. Okay. Your focus should be to build the greatest database that real estate agents ever found, right? And if that means figuring out ways to scrape from your social media email addresses or getting people to opt into your email, that's what we do. But that's always the best, most effective way to market. 8 days out, post another video. 7 days out, knock on 20 doors. There's a script for this. It's in the Sales Warrior, the lethal scripts of the Sales Warrior. It's all built into it. They're very, very simple. There is no ask. Okay. This is all anything that any agent can do. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, I know you don't know me. The Johnsons listed their property down the street, and I'm just going to be doing an open house. This is just a public service announcement. On Saturday, there's going to be some additional cars in the neighborhood. I didn't want you to freak out. Okay. I'm going to be doing it from 1 to 5. If there are any issues, anybody parking in the wrong spot, whatever, please do not hesitate to give me a call. I'm happy to help. But also, I'm going to be doing a private sort of VIP just for the neighbors from 12 to 1. And if you'd like to see kind of what's going on, because let's face it, when I sell the Johnson's house, it's going to have an impact on the value of your home. I would love for you to know, like, come by, check it out. No issues. Great to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, by the way, may I ask, what's the one thing that you love about this neighborhood? Write it down, right? It might be part of your tour while you're giving a tour of the house at the open houses. Okay. All right. 6 days out, knock on another 20 doors. If you do newspaper in your local area, but do it. This is when you would post that. Okay. And then make sure that all of the open house, remember, we created the open house event on our portal. Okay. Let's make sure that it's right. Make sure it's out on Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and Realtor.com and whatever, all of them, right? Your personal websites, all of the different websites. We want to check that. And of course, the MLS. If you are a circle dialer, if you like making phone calls and you've got the product to be able to do that, this is where you start that. Day 5, another 20 doors we're knocking, another video on social media. Finalize your partners, like what is it? Are the invites out? Do we have the mortgage document? Like, we want to know what the rates are and what the payment would be at the list price, as an example. And so you're going to want some of those materials, those assets. That was the word I was looking for, the assets. Day 4, email announcement back out to your CRM, knock on 20 doors, circle dialing. Day 3, final walkthrough of the house. Got to make sure it's ready to go. I know a lot of damage can be done in 3 days, but y'all, the big stuff can be fixed in 3 days. It can't be fixed in 1. Okay. So this is a big one. create your plan, right? It's visual, audible, and smell. Okay. So which at the time of day, like which drapes need to be open, which lamps need to be on, which, we talk about, like when you talk about mood lighting, we know that just having all of the can lights on would be not a good thing, right? You want to create an appealing environment. Audible, like, are we going to have music? What's that going to sound like? What's appropriate for the property type? And then of course the smells. Everybody's house smells the way they live, right? Some people like one kind of cooking and it smells that way, but somebody else ain't gonna like it. So you're gonna have to figure it out. I know Jeff was talking about how he used to make cookies. Great, make cookies. I used to take apple cider and throw a cinnamon stick in it and turn it on in the stove. Whatever. It's not kitschy. It's not manipulative. It's doing what you're hired to do, which is to show the property in its best light, right? And all the senses are important. Okay. Let's see, knock another 20 doors. All right. 2 days out, put the signs out. What are you talking about? Well, the sign needs to go out in the yard. And what it says on it, you got to put, so even if it's just like some kind of I taped it on it, it says open house on Saturday from 1 to 4. Okay. So that you don't get people knocking on the door. Okay. Finish your door knocking. And then the day of is 20 plus signs and flags and balloons and all the things. And everybody goes, well, 20, I don't have 20. Well, then you need to get 20. Look, you get an opportunity as an agent to be able to put out everywhere that you're working. I'm a big fan of making sure that all of your signs have your name on it. Huge fan, because I can put my open house sign 3 miles away at a prominent intersection to get people to come to this open house. And people may not be looking to go to an open house. They may not come to the open house, but they saw my name on a sign and they're like, man, that kid's hardworking. There he is again. Okay. So 20 signs, you got to put them out everywhere. You got to make sure that the property is perfect, staged, ready to go 1 hour before. Okay. The lender, your partner, they're at the front door. Their entire job is to make sure that people sign in properly. That's their job. Okay. Your job is to tour the property properly. Okay. Well, what is that? Well, everything that you've ever bought, anything you've ever gone to a showroom for, hell, even like I'm thinking about a copier or a car or a phone or you name it. There was a tour that was given to you about it. The tour was the same tour for you as it was for the previous 5 customers. The reason for that is that salesperson was trained to provide that tour in that way. And the reason they were trained to do it that way was because that was the best way to communicate the value and the experience of that product. Most real estate salespeople don't come from what you would call a classically trained sales background. This is a really incredible opportunity for you to separate yourself from everybody else, because the true professional salespeople that have had experience in other sales can do this, and they do it really, really well. Okay. It's the way you walk. It's the script that you're using, where the property information is placed even, right? So watch, somebody comes in, they sign in, greet them. Hey, Jimmy, welcome. Great to see you. Where did you hear about us? Sign in here. I'm going to go get some information. Would you like a bottle of water? Okay. Well, I have to go get it. If it was at the front, I wouldn't have to go get it. You follow? So let me give him a minute so he can sign in, and I'm going to go someplace and get the information. All right. What do you say? What do you ask? It was always like, hey, I'm going to take him this direction. Because, hey, the money shot was the view, right? Like, y'all, if that person wants to see the view, take him to the view, right? Like, get him in, show him the money shot. And each place I would have a cadence, and I would know exactly what to ask. Gary, it's great that you're here. Where'd you hear about us? Oh, that's fantastic. So do you live in the neighborhood? Awesome. Hey, oh yeah, so I don't know if you noticed this tile. That tile is great. Yeah. So are you out looking? Do you own what's your deal? Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you see the pool? I know. Isn't that great? Yeah. Oh, so You follow? So have you met with a lender? Have you spoken to, I've got a lender here. Right? You've got to have a cadence for the 12 questions that you've got to ask every single potential buyer before they make a decision. You're moving them through the process, which is what the tour is all about. So at the event, let's talk about the end of the event. And listen, I've got all of those scripts and dialogues. They're also in the lethal scripts for the Sales Warrior, and they're also assets in the Sales Warrior Academy. But happy to give you all of this stuff, right? But the ultimately deal here is that you're not a douchey salesperson. You're just simply trying to interview somebody and identify what it is they're trying to solve, and then you just solve it for them. Because they go, yeah, we're just out kind of looking. We're not really, looking right now, but maybe. And you go, oh, that sounds great. Are you renting? No, we own our house. And, well, is it your dream home? No, not really. I mean, that's kind of why we're looking. Really, we'd like an extra. We want to shop, and oh, that's fantastic. Have you not been able to find anything? No, not really. Nothing that really clicks. Oh, that's cool. I said, so if I was able to find you something, like, would it be okay if I called you and I go back to the office, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, I'll talk with some of the agents in my office. And, there's always some deals that are like not technically for sale, but are actually for sale. Would you like to know about it? Well, yeah, that'd be interesting. Awesome. That'd be great. So I get your information. You already gave it to me, but you understand, I'm just trying to be a problem solver. So let's get to the end of the event. The end of the event, it's done. I'm not done. So at the end of the event, I have got to make sure that I close that place up properly. And I see this happen over and over and over where agents mess this up. We must leave the property in better condition than we found it. Okay? It's just got to be, right? And if that means that you got to mop a floor or sweep a floor or wipe a counter or take the garbage out or whatever it is, don't leave the property in worse condition. Close it up properly. Close all the blinds, turn off all the lights. If you can't find a light switch for the life of you, call the seller. I don't care what you have to do, but do not leave that property in worse condition. You will, once you've broken trust with your seller, you'll never get it back. Right? Then it's time to communicate with the seller. And the communication with the seller needs to be, hey, good news. I had 36 people that came through. 7 of them are actively looking for properties. I don't know if this is going to be the right property or not, but I got all of their information and I've agreed to follow up with them on Tuesday. So more to come on that. Really great open house. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I will be in touch with you. Establish expectations. I will be in touch with you on Thursday with my normal communication with you, or if I get anybody early, I'll make sure I call you. Okay, done. So I've communicated with them. That's numero uno. I'm still not done. The next one is I got to send a video text to all of the attendees. You're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? There were 33 of them. Yep. You're going to send a video text to each one of them. And it's really, really simple. Jimmy, thanks for coming to the open house at 123 Banana Street, dude. It was great to meet you. I really appreciate you making the effort. Hey, listen, I know that you're looking for a place. I know you haven't been able to find it yet, but as I promised you, on Monday, I'm going to go to the office and I'm going to ask some of the agents there if they have any homes that might fit what you're looking for. And if they do, I'm going to give you a call on Tuesday or Wednesday. If you need anything at all, let me know. Bing, done. That's simple, not douchey, all done. And then you're going to add all of those people to your CRM, and then you're done. It's really, really that simple. Okay. Now, I know that was a big one. I know that was a lot to go over, but that's the way it is. Okay. This is what the top agents are doing. They're having success. And y'all, their numbers are like, they're all up there. And I see a lot of red when I'm talking to agents. I'm like, how's your business? Well, it's not doing very well, but the market's down and interest rates are up. And that's not what these people are doing. They're just saying, hey, look, we want a different result. We need to become a different person. We need to do different things, and we're going to do it. And that's what they did. This is that time. This is that time of year where we get to look back. It's the game tape, right? We get to watch the game tape, and we get to get really, really honest. Did we miss the tackle? Did we miss the read? Did we throw the wrong pass? Did we run the wrong play? Are there skills that we could have had, that we could have done it differently, that we could have had a different outcome? Now's the time, because failure and success leave clues. We can look at the game tape looking backwards and we can see, hey, that worked, that didn't. And if we use our dream day to figure out exactly where we can have the greatest impact for 2025, well, we're going to have an incredible 2025 when other people continue to struggle or at best survive. We get to thrive. That's what it's all about. Sales warrior coaches or clients, agents working with me. Here's a stat. Just got this one yesterday. 95% of the agents that I'm working with are up year over year. You got to ask the question, what are you doing? What are your numbers? If you are a leader on this call and you've got agents in your office and they're struggling, give them the data. Look at the numbers. But at the end of the day, as I started this whole thing off, right? You got to become a different person, but whatever your outcomes, whatever you're not changing, you chose. So 5 things. Go make those things happen. Hey, guys, just before you leave, 2 things. Number 1, if you are interested in becoming a sales warrior certified coach, if you are somebody who's like, you know what, I've been in the real estate game, I like it. What I really want to do is have an impact on other people, and yes, earn money. But that's not why we start this thing off. This is you got to have a passion for it. If you're interested in that, we are hosting a sales warrior certified coaching certification in February. You just need to text me and I'll send you some information. The best number for me is the 833-338-0078. And I'll send you that information. And then remember, the Sales Warrior Academy is officially launched. All of our training, past, present, and future, is all there, all ready for you to access. Happy to get you that link. Okay. Any questions for me?